Morning, Jonathan.
Oh, hi. Hello, how are you?
Yes, not too bad, thanks. And yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. I hope you're expecting my call.
Yes, no, I was. I got used to checking the WhatsApp. I don't hardly ever use it actually, and as a way of communicating. But no, she said to catch up at 11 today, so that's fine.
Good
Had a good
stuff.
weekend?
Yeah, I did, thank you. Yes, yourself?
Yeah, busy in the middle of A's and GCSEs. So
Oh, are you?
got
Right.
the A's last week. Excuse me, GCSEs Thursday. So
Right.
busy
Stressful
week,
time.
busy week. But no, I appreciate the call. What I wanted to just gauge is just to, I guess, get your initial thoughts, and if there was interest, what sort of levels and sort of ratios you were looking at. Very happy to meet both of us, etc. The end of this week if necessary. But I was trying to eradicate anyone, not wasting each other's time if we were
Yeah,
miles
sure.
apart or you didn't like things.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Because all Anna said is great. Can we set up a meeting? And my next question is to discuss. And obviously, she wasn't quite sure, so I thought it would be easy if we just talk turkey for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So can we just recap, just so I make sure that I understand everything,
Yep.
and there's no confusion. And even though I've got my notes from our last conversation, I've probably spoken to 20 nursery owners since, so I
Wow.
don't want to get any
Okay.
of my
Busy.
don't want to get any of my information confused.
No problem.
So the is, are you interested in selling both settings? Is that where
We
you stand
are.
at the moment?
Ideally, yes. Ideally, what we'd look at is, but with which the property is, we would prefer a lease back, so to lease or rent the property
Right.
for a period of time, obviously, subject to due diligence and everything else. But sales on
Sure.
that's rented, as I say, 20-year lease with 6 years into it um, as the freehold.
Yeah, that's right. So
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 we would consider the whole lot, but on a lease back
yeah, so you'd retain
preferably.
the property. You'd be our landlord. We'd be your tenant.
Yeah.
And we're doing that with we're completing on 3 this week, and we're
All right.
doing
Wow.
that
Okay.
with 2 of them.
Okay.
So
Yep.
we're very familiar. We'd like a 15-year lease, as a minimum, really, because that gives us the confidence that we've got a business there,
Sure.
for at the very least 15 years. So very happy with that type of arrangement. And what we do is we get a RICS valuation of the commercial rent. You don't have to agree with it, of course, but it's whatever RICS say is the price per square foot, and they do
Yep.
comparables with other nurseries in the area and all of these things that I don't really
Yeah.
understand, but they end up with a number that hopefully we can use as a basis for a conversation.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so that bit is absolutely fine. And across the settings, what is your annual revenue, or what was it for the last 12 months?
For the last 12 in the region, one, two,
1.2?
one, yeah, yeah,
1.2.
one,
Okay.
150, 1.2. I'm being as close as I can. So.
Yeah. Just sort of a ballpark, really. 1.2. And your net profit after tax would be.
For the this thing, because the accountants are currently doing the accounts at the moment, 150. I don't want to sound vague, but I'm seeing the accountants tomorrow morning actually by default. So I can confirm that. I would have thought around about 135, 40.
Okay, so that sort of
150.
number. Yeah, again, just 130 to 150. I mean, it's not about precise numbers at all at this stage. It's just really
No,
getting a
obviously we can get all that near the
getting
time
a
if everyone likes to
and
tell us.
and that's across the entire business.
Yeah.
Okay. And does that, with the 2 freeholds that you own, does that take into account any, as you own them outside of the company, I think, Are you paying yourself rent?
No, the properties are mortgaged, or have some mortgage on it.
Yeah. So is the company, and are they in your name, the properties?
They're in the companies.
Oh, in the companies. So the properties currently exist inside.
Yes, that's correct.
Got it. Okay. So just because I'm in the process of doing this with someone at the moment, you'd need to demerge the properties out of the company. It takes about 30 days. Not all accountants know how to do this. It's quite specialist, but I can give you the note that my accountant gave me to give to a nursery owner, which gives two options.
Okay.
If you have a pension, there's a nice option for that as well. But you'd need to remove the properties from the company so that you can then lease them to us.
So
It's
take property.
it's an accounting thing rather than anything else. So you don't really have to do anything. It's just the paperwork needs to be done. It needs to get approval from HMRC, but that's given automatically. It's really not an issue because it's done all the time. But many accountants don't know how to do it because it's not something they come across very often. But the guidance that I've got might be helpful to give your guy or girl a steer if they need it. So at the moment then, that 130 to 150 takes into account the mortgage interest that you're paying, but it doesn't take into account what a commercial lease cost would be.
No, because it is obviously
Because you can't do that because it's inside the company.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
As I say, the actual profit, I can give you more clarity. Obviously, I don't know how much detail you wanted to go in on the conversation, so I've just.
yeah, no, fine. I'm really happy to keep it very, very, very broad at this stage. I just want to get my head around some of the factors involved. So that's really, really helpful. Thank you. Now, what do you feel the business is worth at the moment?
We were looking at EBITDA on the figures that Sonia sent over for around in the region of 3.5, and also the same for. So we're working on EBITDA about 3.5.
So 350
Yeah.
per setting.
Yeah, it was higher. I think it was coming out about 140, 150. So yeah, 350 for, and it would be circa half a million. That was about 140, 150. I think the profit.
Oh right, then I've misunderstood something already. I thought when you said the 130 to 150, I thought that was the profit across the two settings.
No, sorry, it's separated. So
Right.
I can give you a much nearer figure of that later on this morning. I'll drop you an email or drop Anna an email anyway. So as I say, all the finalised counts are still with our accountant, but you see on the two separate, those are the profits individually. So
Right.
if we were going to sell on its own, we'll be looking at 3.5, and if someone said, we like that, but also what else have you got, which happened last time, would be applying a 3.5 EBITDA across the board. So that's why I just wanted to get a steer on if that was within your ideal or remit, or quite, if you had a set factor, or we only look at one or two, or quite what. So
Sure. So again, just sorry if I'm sounding pedantic, but I just want to absolutely make sure that this is clear in my head. So you're saying that the profit on is between 130 and 150.
I think 110.
110. All right. So the other one is 130 to 150.
Yeah.
Got it. Right. Okay. 130.
Sorry, my math's confusing.
No, that's okay. So, but they're both in the same company, aren't they?
Yes.
Right. So if we add those numbers up, if we take the top end of your 130 to 150, so we take 150 plus the 110, that's so that's 260 across the 260 in the company, which relates to the two settings.
Yeah. Okay.
So the number you feel the business is worth right now, based upon that profit, is in the region of what?
That would be 750, 889, something like that. I haven't got a count. I'm doing this off the top of my head.
No worries. No worries.
I've done 260, so 520, 780, 889, 10.
So that is. So what am I? I've
Sorry,
I've
910.
I've got my
So
pad
360.
here. So you give me the numbers and I'll write them down and add them up.
Yeah, 260 and 3.5 is 910.
260. Sorry, I'm. How do we get to 910?
The 3.5 times the profit.
Oh, right. Okay. So when you say 3.5, I've been sorry. I thought you meant 350,000.
No, when I was looking at 350 for sold, because that was about 108, 110, so that would come into about 350. Sorry if I was.
No. It's okay. I've got these deals closing this week, and my head is full of numbers. So
I understand that.
so I'm so which is about 110 net.
Yeah.
You feel has a value currently of 350.
50, yeah.
Yeah, and the other one, which is 130 to 150 net,
Would be near $500,000.
near a 500,
Yeah.
which gives us a total of 850.
50, yeah.
Okay, let me just think about this. Okay. I realise all these numbers are reasonably ballpark because we haven't got the final accounts. When will you have those accounts?
They should be, what are we now, August? I would have thought September-ish,
Okay.
to the end. Yeah, they collected them in May. They take a while to do their bits and pieces, but yes, September.
Okay. I mean, I would be happy to agree something with you, which is like, we do this sometimes where it's an in principle agreement where we don't know what the final numbers yet, what they are yet, but we agree a mechanism for the valuation of the business, and then when the final numbers come in, we just apply that mechanism to those numbers, and that's your answer.
Sure.
If that makes sense. But the numbers that you're talking about, place it within our parameters of what would work for us.
Okay.
So we wouldn't be wasting each other's time at all.
No. Okay. Good. Well, that's why I just wanted to, as I say, it's, the due diligence will clean everything up either way. And as I say, if you have a mechanism that fits within what we've just discussed, then we're at least on the same page.
Yeah, we are.
Ostensibly. So, from your point of view, Jonathan, obviously you're closing 2 or 3 this week. Would there be merit, or I suppose time, to meet up later this week at all?
Yeah,
I'm in London Thursday, Friday. I'm only asking because you said you've got a heck of a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I'm going to Manchester tonight, and I'm away for 2 nights. And then next week, well, it's bank holiday. Actually, I'm going away on bank holiday for that week. So, so I would suggest if we were to meet, and it would have to be in Richmond, then I could do Thursday or Friday. Anna has my diary, and she can work out. And I reckon we need an hour and a half, 2 hours max. I'd love to go through. It's not just about the numbers. I'd love to go through just understanding how it operates, your management structure, understanding what's important to you. And really, if we were to do something, what it would look like in terms of timescale, your involvement post sale, all of those things. So an hour and a half, 2 hours, yeah, probably about 3 or 4 cups of tea's worth of conversation.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, we'll be pretty certain if we're doing something, or if something comes out of that conversation that means that we can't. But if we were to do it just on numbers, what you've told me so far this morning, I like what I hear. I think it's workable.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, well look, I know Sonia's free Friday, so she's just on a conference call at the moment, so it should be finished by 12. I'll get something time-wise just set up. I'll pop an email over or WhatsApp to Anna, just make sure it's workable, because
Yeah.
as I say, so it's going to take a couple of hours to schlep down, and then meet up, and then we can get back in the same day. So that's fine.
Would you drive or train?
Drive. It's just easier at the top of the M40. So
Okay, it's
M4.
Yeah, it's about. I used to do that journey all the time, and I'm trying to remember whether.
Oh yeah, because you said you're in Holland. Right?
That's right. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember. It was one. I think it's 1 hour and 40 minutes.
Fine. Okay. We'll say 2 hours with the M25. So
absolutely. Yeah, that's sensible. Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully I'll see you this week then. That would be good.
I'll relay this back. Friday can work for us. Let me just nail it down with, and then we'll obviously both want to meet and discuss and chat. And I'll just relay what we've discussed and these initial sort of figures and the RICS valuation, etc., and the demerger, etc. And I will get back to Anna later on this afternoon.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Great. Really good talking to you.
Lovely. Thanks, John.
Speak soon. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. So the learning points from that is to realise how confused sellers are about their own numbers. And I mean, I was confused as well, because the numbers kept changing. When he said 3.5, I thought that was an odd way of saying 350,000. But then it turned into what felt like a multiple. He was using a 3.5 multiple, which actually would work. But then he never mentioned that again. I asked him about net profit, and he turned it into EBITDA, I think, at one point. And the numbers were all over the place. But in actual fact, it adds up, because if he's on 1.2 million of revenue, and there should be 20% net, which is about 240, that's the number. Well, he said 260, I think, but that's the sort of number that we're looking at. I love the idea that he wants to lease the property back to us, because that requires less capital expenditure. We don't have to buy the properties. But what he hasn't taken into account, you'll notice, is, and he can't because the property's inside the company, he hasn't taken into account what we as the new owners would have to pay him in rent, because that therefore reduces the profit.